Ibrahim in Gordhan. What are the most important things that emerged from those discussions?
Certainly has been one word, Nzinga: implementation. The sun was barely visible at the time, just before the President Cyril Ramaphosa came out to speak. It was a little bit gloomy, but the sun has come out right after he finished speaking. Perhaps it's a notion that we can read into. Perhaps it's a notion of a new dawn for South Africa. Who knows? But the Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, laying out very clearly that indeed it could be a sign that South Africa needs to do it right now, that it indeed needs to be able to dent exactly what has been going on in South Africa's economy, which is now in a recession. Unemployment rate stubbornly high and above 27% odd, the highest in the world. It certainly is something that needs to be looked at quite vehemently as well, if you think about it, Nzinga. The message here is that there are certain sectors of South Africa's economy, including agriculture, which have been very, very key. Infrastructure is one that has been falling by the wayside. A lot of the construction companies in South Africa are struggling, and a lot of them even going into business rescue. The likes of Esau, Frankie as well, being those that struggle. The likes of WBHO not finding joy in the local market. So that infrastructure fund is bound to give up some sort of assistance and some sort of help to an economy that is certainly ailing. The president is very clear that once he left the podium, that is when the implementation of this plan was aimed at starting. Minister Ibrahim Patel of Economic Development saying that now is exactly when they need to be implementing this, and that he's given the economy about 4 months in order to make a dent in the implementation process of the plan, and that by February, when the State of the Nation address comes through from President Cyril Ramaphosa, that indeed we must be able to signify and detail how exactly this has been able to be done and what has been done thus far, and hold the executive accountable. Quite key, quite significant. Implementation, clearly the key word.
Arabile, when people have been speaking about the stimulus package before it happened, they were saying reprioritizing government spending is not going to inject money into the economy. After this, do we have a better sense of how the stimulus plan is going to work?
Yeah, well, having spoken to the Finance Minister, Nhlanhla Nene, he says that the reprioritization of funding is something that has been going on for quite some time. It really seems that the budget gets planned and then things get changed around as and when the needs of the country perhaps alter, perhaps become more signified and become more important at certain times, of course. So we do have some insight. We will get even more insight in about a month's time. October 24th it is when the medium-term budget policy framework is detailed by Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene. So the MTBPS will be the key element to finding out where exactly the money will be going when it comes to this infrastructure plan and the growth strategic plan that the president has set forward. Let's remember that the MTBPS is usually not a statement to give out bold statements when it comes to what exactly is going to be happening with the budget. It usually details a 3-year framework and also details just what the government is perhaps re-looking at. And it's that re-looking that will certainly be quite key. The ratings agencies may look at this with some good inspiration and good thought as well. So that, I think, is going to be a key element here. And I think the message is coming out a little bit clearer with regards to the implementation.
So we also know that it's financial and non-financial ways to try and stimulate the economy. One of those ways is through tourism and relooking at visas.
Indeed, so the e-visa application is one that needs to be piloted as well, according to President Ramaphosa. It seems that that is one key element. They want to change that as soon as possible. Minister Ibrahim Patel of Economic Development saying that they'd like to target the end of year rush. That gives them about a month or so. That means November, December, and perhaps early January to see and make sure that they get that visa situation sorted exponentially and very quickly as well. How that will be done, considering that South Africa's cabinet is the one that makes a whole lot of those decisions, needs to be approved through those structures, is quite critical. But that's not the only regulation as you speak of, Nzinga. We still have the mining charter, which not so long ago was just approved in its third form as well, among a lot of consultation and around a whole lot of integration as well with the right developments required to boost South Africa's ailing mining sector, which now occupies close to around 6 or 7% of GDP. So it is the regulation, it is the element, it is about making South Africa more business friendly to the global investor.
Arabile Gumede coming to us live from Pretoria, covering that story on President Cyril Ramaphosa and the stimulus package. We're going to continue bringing you analysis on insight on this throughout On Point today, so do stay with us.